The Satoshi alien will help you understand technology and cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and believe you like it. The Satoshi alien will help you understand investments and make money, so come listen to the aliens guidance. Listen to the
I can't lift things. Like I literally boxed for like probably 2 hours the past
Wow.
like 3 days, just shadow boxing, punching the air as hard as I can. Like after going to the gym too.
That's awesome,
Like
though. I mean, I didn't even think about the Oculus as a potential workout. That's pretty cool.
yeah, man, I get exhausted too, and I'm not like in bad shape.
No.
I've been pretty decent. I run regularly, I like work out regularly, and I mean, it's you go as hard as you can, I guess, right?
Right. That's awesome, though, dude. Now, how does that work? Like, what can you play? Like, what's like? I never even like looked at it from like the inside in, right? So like, I don't know what the operating system looks like. I don't know how the user interface is.
Dude, it's so intuitive. It's so easy. You literally block off like a section of a room, right? So, stupidly, before I got the Oculus, I got this inversion chair thing, and it's fine because I live by myself, right? So it's not like
Right.
anybody's gonna complain that I have this massive workout equipment, relaxation thing in the middle of the living room, and it wasn't a problem until I got the Oculus.
So
And now I'm like stacking that on top of the couch, like just making room as much as I can so I could punch the air.
So I know you can like map your environment. Does it incorporate your environment into whatever world you're in,
I
or
think they're gonna get there. I think right now all you can really do is like avoid the obstacles and stuff like that. It's pretty awesome, man. I have to say.
so is that like the only way to walk in a world is to do it through the controller?
Well, you're walking in real life too in the room. So it's like kind of like I do a combination, but I do it on purpose. Whereas like you could kind of just stand and like have the world kind of move around you, right? Which is one thing. Or you could just walk. And I'll like walk back. Like if I see, you'll see in the game, you get to a boundary. So like, all right, I'm at the end of the room, whatever. So I can move forward on the joystick and walk backwards and then
Okay,
start walking forward again,
cool.
right? Or just turn around and like change the camera angle, right? So I turn around, change the camera angle to turn around, whatever, and then I just keep walking straight. So I can be walking back and forth straight, and in the game, I'm just walking in one direction.
Gotcha. That's pretty crazy. Now, obviously, like you have good vision, right? If you don't wear glasses, how does it work if you have to wear glasses? Is
It
there
came with a little adapter for glasses.
okay?
Yeah, so you put that on, and then you put your glasses on, and then that's it.
It's pretty
Dude,
cool.
it's really cool, and the way I see it is like, did you have a Nintendo growing up?
Yeah, I've had like the pretty much every system but the GameCube and the Wii and the Wii U. I didn't have
So you have
those.
like the Nintendo Entertainment System with
Yeah,
the
the NES.
cartridges.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you remember that, like Mario and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They were awesome games. Duck Hunt, but
Duck
that
Hunt.
was
Yeah.
first generation. Taking that little gun and pointing it at your CRT TV. That was such an early iteration of what a PS5 would be.
Right. Right.
And now you're seeing this. This is the Oculus Quest 2. It's really cool. But all it has me thinking is like, wow, at the end of the decade, this is going to be so much better than real life. It's going to be an issue. And I'm so glad that I'm like older and I'm not 14, 15. And now the best video games of all time history are coming out,
Right. Now, I've like so when you talk about like VR, everyone always talks about like how great sporting events could be because you can be sitting like at the 50-yard line or courtside. Are you able to like watch anything in the Oculus right now, or is that like a futuristic idea?
So I think you can. I've seen things that say you can. Me personally, I'm not a sports guy. You
Yeah.
know that. So I haven't been paying attention to if they
Okay.
have live shows and stuff like that. I mean, personally, I would think being at the game is fun, right? But like you're at a game, and this is coming from somebody who doesn't follow things closely. To drink a lot, eat bad food, and hang out with your friends, right?
Right.
Those are the reasons for me that I go to the games. So for me, there'd be no real reason for me to put on a headset and sit in my living room and watch, a basketball game or something like that. I wouldn't do that.
Gotcha. That's interesting stuff, dude. I mean,
Are you a big fan? Would you see yourself doing that? Like, if it was a very good experience, could you see yourself sitting there and just watching a baseball game?
Yeah, I mean, like obviously I love sports, right? So I'm sitting at home watching a baseball game. Anyway, my only thing is I've always been very cautious about VR because I feel like once you enter into VR, you're never gonna exit again. And like
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
starting
want
to
to
have that
mess with
feeling.
reality for that. You know what I mean? Like as weird as
Mhm.
that sounds. Uh, but I think if I had the opportunity to like sit right behind home plate and like feel it like right there with the umpire and like
Mhm.
feel the fastball coming at me and feel the crack of the bat, that would be an experience that's really invaluable. And
But see, wouldn't you rather? I mean, I would think you would rather watch the angles on TV and the commentary and the scoreboard and stuff like that. If you're behind home plate, you're not. Are you seeing the whole field? Like, how would that work?
I think you'd be like in a like point of view mode almost where you're seeing what the player sees. Or maybe you can like travel throughout the field. I wonder
That
how
would be
that would
cool.
work, right?
Yeah.
You would need some crazy like 3D world mapping. And I think last week or last time we talked about Matterport. It's a SPAC GHVI, and they enable the virtual home tours, right, for like
Hmm.
Redfin and Airbnb. And what they do is they just take a picture or a series of pictures and then replicate that digitally. I wonder if there's a way to do this live with a sports arena and then have you walk through it as everything's happening live. Obviously, we would need some crazy speeds to avoid
Hmm.
latency issues, but to me, that would take the whole dynamic to a different level. That would be amazing, right?
Yeah. No, that would be super cool. See, I don't know exactly how you would do something like that.
You would need a
Uh,
lot of tech, dude.
yeah, it's beyond what I would know. But there's this one program that I used a couple of years ago. It was on SourceForge, which is this open source website where they have a bunch of different open source tools and stuff like that. I forgot what it's called off the top of my head, but basically it allowed you to do what you just said. So you could get a series of pictures, and I did this at work. I took a series of pictures from like the front door, opening the door, going inside, going to like the first floor, second floor, and I basically was able to make like a virtual tour, but I
Right.
did it all manually, right, through this program. Um, so if their software does it automatically, it makes sense because it wasn't a hard process to do it. And I guess when you're actually walking with the camera and you have the software running, I can see how that works instead of just taking a bunch of pictures and then putting them together yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Um,
tech is pretty wild. If you ever like want to check it out, I suggest going on Redfin and just do one of the virtual tours because it's pretty cool to
I
see.
did when Vinny was buying his place.
Okay.
He had we did it. We threw it on the TV. It was super easy to
Yeah,
navigate too.
it's really cool. And like you can zoom in on specifics. Like let's say you're a building manager and you're
Mm.
doing the layout of like a new building that you're like, creating and you want to see where all your sprinklers are. I mean, Matterport's pretty dope because you can label them and then pull up individual components in the blueprint essentially to like
Oh wow.
locate which sprinkler is malfunctioning, things like that. So I do think if one day we would need probably more than 5G, right? We probably need more than edge computing just to have the speeds be, applicable. But I mean, that'd be amazing if I could walk around the baseball field and just see what every player is seeing from their angle and like the different experiences while the action's happening. I think we're entering a crazy world, dude.
It's gonna add that like sports criticism people have of players
Yeah.
from their couch. It's gonna add a whole new level to that because now you're seeing it from that player's eyes. You can be like, "It
Right.
was right there. How did you not see that?" You know?
Right. Meanwhile, your reaction time, like you're blinking and the pitch
Yeah,
is
yeah.
over. Right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the average person could not do it whatsoever. But I mean, hey,
Right.
these aren't average people, right? So you could have
Right.
a little bit higher expectations.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But that's pretty dope about the Oculus, man. I remember when Facebook bought them. It's been a long time now at this point, maybe 10 years.
And there's a couple iterations. They had the
Yeah,
Oculus Go, Oculus Rift S, and this is the Oculus Quest 2. So
yeah,
there was an initial Quest, I guess, before this.
yeah. And they were basically like a Kickstarter campaign too when Facebook bought them. And just to see this materialize, I think it's such a great opportunity for Facebook to expand and really capitalize on the metaverse that exists unmonetized as it is, right? Like social
Oh,
media isn't
I
that
had
great.
a I had a moment, man, when
Yeah.
I put it on, right? when I was home, and you press the side 2 times, and you could see like your actual room that you're in.
Okay.
So now I could see my entire living room just through. It's black and white, right, and it's through the headset. And the first thing I thought was, this is going to be normal.
Yes.
Like seeing things through this headset right now, how my real environment is, how I'm moving. Like I see my dog, I see everything in this room, but I'm seeing it directly in this headset. This is going to be how most people see the world in probably 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. Wait for those AR glasses to be there in front of you, like fully functioning, fully real. It's amazing.
Yeah. Then there's like the implications with like consciousness and it's going out of your body. Like that's what I was thinking when I saw that view, man. It kind of freaked me out, I'm not gonna lie.
No, and that's my main worry. Like, I don't want to even put it on because I feel like you're entering a world that shouldn't be entered. You know what I mean? 'Cause you're now splitting reality into like 2 different dimensions, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, when you put it like that.
Yeah.
But I brought it to my parents' house.
Yeah.
My mom and my sister tried it. My mom is not like a tech person whatsoever. And she put it on and she was like, we need to get one for this house immediately. Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, it's really cool, man. It's better than it's going to be better than real life. Probably not right now, but soon. I guarantee it.
And I've heard that. I've heard that from a lot of different people too, saying like I could see why people would enter and never leave, you know?
I want to get into VR chat.
Okay.
I made a Satoshi alien avatar, and I was like
Cool.
I was in some world. Dude, you look at your hands, and they're like alien hands. That's the freakiest part, because like I like move my fingers and stuff, and like it's not perfect by any means because you're in the controller, but they're doing hand tracking. That's coming.
Yeah.
You're gonna have perfect fluid motions of your hands in this virtual environment, and I think that's the weird part. When your hands just move, that's such a mind trick that there's definitely something to that.
Well, I wonder if eventually, like, I don't know if you ever read or watched Ready Player One.
Yes, I love that movie.
I think it's a terrible book, but besides that point, right? When you see or hear about the suit that they wear in the Oasis, right? It's a suit, full haptics, full connectivity. I wonder if that's where we're going to head as people, if we're going to be fully immersed that way.
Oh, did you see Amazon's Upload?
No, what's that?
So it's a great show. I definitely recommend you watching it. You could watch it with the wife. It's like she would probably like it too. The premise is this guy. I won't spoil it, but basically, there's in the future, right? And in the future, you could transport your consciousness, upload your consciousness when you die to a virtual world and live forever in heaven. But it's like corporatized, right? And there's different plans. So like if you don't have like the premium plan, like you can't get certain things. And then families are signing up with the companies. So it's like, hey, like I forgot what they call themselves in the show, but it's like, hey, we're an Apple family. It's like we're all going to Apple heaven. And this is like the Google heaven. And like all these companies have their own little iterations of the afterlife. And then if you die, like if your digital self is destroyed, then you really die. But otherwise, you could sort of live on like a hard drive, be transported around.
Crazy stuff to think about, dude.
I mean, what is it? Our brain, like there might be a chance where you could upload your consciousness. That could be something that happens.
Listen, I'm not smart enough to figure out how that's even possible, but if it happens, I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, it sounds cool, but it also sounds very unnatural, right?
It does. And in the show, it's really cool. So when you get uploaded, your head gets like incinerated.
Sure.
So that's pretty funny. So you have no choice. Like you can't go back to your body basically. Once you're uploaded, you're uploaded. That's it.
We don't know what happens in the afterlife, obviously. So I wonder if there'll be like, if this ever happens, if we would know what happens in the afterlife to make an informed decision. Otherwise, you're kind of just like gambling on or something, right? Like if I'm like, maybe there's reincarnation. Maybe we want to test that out,
I like
you never know.
Yeah, you're sitting there like, well, I can guarantee to go to Apple Heaven, right? It's pretty cool. I can't get like the premium membership, but copper's good. I still got pool access, nice place to live forever, food, Or I could take my chances on real heaven.
Right. Or I could be reincarnated and come back as a dog in like a rich person's house,
It's true.
Who knows? crazy
Would you
stuff.
want to be a dog in a rich person's house?
No.
No, they're gonna take you places, bro. You don't want that. You want to be a homeless guy's dog.
Oh no, that's
Yeah,
even
no,
worse.
no, 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 no. You're thinking of it all wrong. Think of it
Go
like
ahead.
this:
Go
the
ahead.
guy doesn't go to work.
It's true.
People give that guy food and the dog food all day long.
I guess that's true.
Right? They're together all the time.
Yeah.
You're outside. He can go to the bathroom. He does whatever he wants. Right? And that dog's usually never on a leash. He's right
No.
next to the because he's having the time of his life.
What if you don't
He's
like?
living like the perfect dog life.
What if you don't like your owner and now you're stuck with him forever?
Nah, dogs love their owners, bro. If you feed a dog and you hang out with him and you're kind of nice to
Yeah.
him, he's gonna love you.
Yeah, I guess
He's
you're
designed
right.
to do that.
I guess you're right. Oh man. So going back to the Oculus, would you be a buyer of Facebook stock because of it?
Yeah, and I am a buyer of Facebook stock. Not much at all, though. But I did start into it. I mean, it's showing a lot of weakness right here. It's not really going anywhere. It was kind of strong, though, last week when everything was melting down.
Yeah, it hasn't really budged too much in terms of the overall market, right? Like I'm down like 40% in Teladoc, but Facebook is hanging on pretty well in comparison.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say, I do love Facebook. I mean, I don't love it as a company, but I do love what they did with the Oculus. I got to rephrase that. I definitely don't love Facebook.
So here's my thing with them, right? And I don't like them at all as a company either. If they focus on stupid innovations like a Facebook watch and trying to copy Snapchat and
Or
Clubhouse,
that, not Mirror, but what did they had something like
The
Facebook Portal.
Yeah, it's so stupid. Like, just give me an iPad. I can talk to my parents that way,
Yeah.
Instead of them focusing on those products that honestly they're
They're branding it with their brand. Like Oculus is Oculus, even though it's associated with Facebook, and I know that it's part of Facebook. At least it says Oculus. Like when you're getting a Facebook watch or you're getting a Facebook Portal, that's like blanket for Mark Zuckerberg to spy on you.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it feels.
And you're not even getting like this high quality product. Like I could say if they're giving me like this amazing watch that Apple doesn't have, like it's so much better than the Apple Watch, maybe it's worth it. But you're not getting that usually with Facebook's other products. So for me to consider Facebook as an option long term, it's all about the Oculus, and it's all about their ability to create and monetize and deliver a full-fledged metaverse. And if they can nail that, it's never going to die. It's a $5,000 stock, right? Like it's just going to run around for the next 20 years because Oculus is the first mover.
Well, yeah, they have the network, right? The network is the most important thing.
Right.
As long as they can maintain the network and get their users staying on Facebook and using Facebook products, then, like you said, it'll be a $5,000 stock. Because once people unlock the potential of VR, like once Apple is out with their headset in a couple of years, and now Oculus has their thing, I'm sure Google will come out with something else. Once this all starts happening and you already have the network of Facebook, then you could start being like, hey, look, I know you have the Apple headset, but you can come to Oculus venues or Facebook venues. You can come press a button so easy and use whatever headset to come into our world and come into your Facebook account. And they could probably get a ton of data like that too.
Oh, and then think about all the advertising and so here's the thing about advertising, right? When you're on Twitter and you see an ad, you skip through it. You just scroll past it because it sucks.
Yeah.
When you're on a Roku TV, you see an ad, you have an ability to interact with it slightly, right?
Mm.
When you're on Snapchat or Pinterest, you have an AR ad. So now I can try on a product, at home. If I'm in VR, I can actually be in the ad. I can drive that Hummer that GM is trying to sell me.
Yes.
I can experience everything so much more. Their advertising opportunity.
Oh man, can you imagine the car company commercials?
Right.
Like you in a pickup truck, right? First, you want to watch a video, let's say about, I don't know, putting in a new sink or something like that, right? You're on YouTube, whatever. Then the car commercial comes on, but it's virtual reality, Suddenly you look next to you, there's like a beautiful woman. You're like on a beach in a pickup truck, looking crisp. Everything's beautiful. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't even skip that. I'd be like,
right.
Hey, what is going on?
Right. Like that to me is such an opportunity for advertisements that is, number one, unlike anything in the world. Number two, it's so invaluable because here's the thing. People are going
it can be personalized too. Sorry to cut you off.
Exactly. People are going to Roku instead of, linear TV because the data is more powerful. It's more useful, right? You're actually making more money with the ads there. when you can go into VR and people can become the advertisement, oh my God, like it's over, right? And maybe you keep paying, like maybe you pay them instead of to buy that Hummer, you pay them $5 a month to just drive it around virtually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's so much at stake that could be amazing. And I think that would be a really cool opportunity for Facebook.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see what they have going forward. I mean, the games they have are pretty awesome. They have this Walking Dead game that I was playing a little bit. Just to get a zombie and like stab him in the head, it feels good. It feels awesome.
I wonder how far away we are from haptic gloves where you don't need the joystick. You can, throw.
Oh no, we have hand tracking. Hand tracking, I think, is here. I've seen it on the Oculus in the store. It's like for some apps, it says hand tracking.
Okay.
And for like, if you look at the Microsoft headset,
the HoloLens,
right, their mixed reality headset, that's fully hand tracking. If you want to pull up the menu, you go to your wrist, press a button, and
wow.
Up. Yeah, hand tracking. I think they're there with hand tracking.
And that's amazing. That's really cool.
Because what's next, right? Hands are good. I mean, you ever have this is gonna be taking the subject and going to left field, but you ever have like a lucid dream?
Not anymore, but I used to have them when I was young.
When you look at your hands, it's like grounds you, right? It's like this weird thing that happens if you're in a lucid dream and you look at your hands. And I was getting that same weird sensation in virtual reality.
That's crazy, dude.
There has to be something to it.
Nuts, man. So like this is a great thematic to be researching, right? One of our followers, or a couple of our followers, are really bullish on IMMR.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually are the haptic technology behind the PlayStation 5 controller.
Interesting.
I don't know if you've interacted with a PS5 controller at all. Have you?
No.
I highly recommend if you can do a demo somewhere, or like if you know someone that has one, like when you're vaccinated, you can come over and try out mine. Dude, it's unbelievable. The touch responsiveness, the technology. It's really cool, right? Like I can pull my trigger like I'm shooting a gun, and I'll actually feel the resistance of the trigger being pulled.
Oh, wow.
And it's really dope. And Immersion is like the brand behind that. And I wonder how their business is going to evolve. And I think that would be one company, if you're into VR, to research, because it could be a very important part of the ecosystem for haptics, right? And
I
they're
agree.
really a leader if they're behind the PlayStation controller.
And I could see so the haptic feedback is awesome, right? But I could also see like smells being integrated eventually.
Oh, you have to make it full senses, right? Like all 5 senses, everything.
They could probably make some sort of general like concoctions, and then like whatever sort of mixes, they'd be able to take 3 things or 2 things and sort of mix them together near your nose to create whatever sort of sensation. I would think. I mean, I don't know.
I guess there's like different ways to do it, right? Like one way would be like literally like an essence packet that you have to like, upload, like you have to buy. The other thing they can do would be to just mess with your mind and have your brain somehow trigger the senses that are associated.
That's exactly.
That would be crazy.
Well, when your nose smells something, right? I remember learning about in biology. There's like there's like 2 layers, right? And the first layer picks up the actual molecules and things like that, and then it gets translated into like sodium and potassium ions, and then that goes to the brain, and then your brain is able to pick up whatever smell just based on the mix of those 2 ions. So there has to be a way.
That's nuts, dude.
Once we tap into the brain, man, probably with like the help from machine learning, the VR is going to be like Black Mirror. You're just going to use your brain's processing power.
It's amazing.
It's going to be like a dream.
Dude, and that's why I bought a bunch of Unity, because it's one of the main players behind this thematic. That's pretty broad ecosystem-wise, right? Like they have the widest reach, I think. Facebook, Google, and Apple can step on that territory. Maybe they won't succeed well, but they can step on it, right? Unity will be the one that feeds everybody, and I think that could be a great investment long term.
No, I agree, and I don't even mind being underwater right now.
Oh yeah, I don't even care either. It's I started in way too early in hindsight, and it is what it is. You make mistakes because you're in a bull market, and you get bailed out from doing dumb stuff all the time, and then it happens, and then it is what it is. But I'll take it. I have I bought in around like 128 originally, and then I added it down at the 110, 111 range last week.
Mhm.
It's like a 121 average. It's not great. It
I'm about there
hurts.
too, man. I'm at like
It hurts.
120.
Yeah, but you deal
119.
with it. And if I had more buying power, I would buy more. But I'm pretty much at the end of my rope here. So
Yeah, I have a little more powder, but I'd rather save it to see like some face melting crypto meltdown or
right,
something like that, and then go
right.
ham.
Like I
You
got my
know?
revolver that I can draw down on, but I'm not putting money into the account unless we have that. Because that's what it's for. It's like the revolver you draw down on when everything's at the limit and you have nothing else to look forward to.
Yeah. Well, luckily before this drawdown, I paid off a big chunk of margin. So I was like super low, and now I went deep in margin on those red
Yeah.
days.
Dude, I've been levering up through some options plays. I've been selling put spreads and I've been buying call spreads. Uh,
What do you think is your most promising move right now?
I went big in terms of not that it's big in size by any means, but I did put on a bunch of different Palantir
Mm,
plays. So I bought a lot of like 25, 35 or 25, 55, 30, 40 call spreads. And then I sold a bunch of put spreads, 15, 10, 20, 15, all peppered throughout 2022 and 2023.
mm.
And my idea is I really think Palantir should be a $50 stock. I have trouble trying to gauge how far it can go because it's already like a $45 billion market cap. So I don't know if it can get to like 250, it's growing 30%. It's a great company with a great moat and a great customer
Yeah, kill
base.
Bin Laden.
Right. Exactly. Like, how could you not love that? So I
Exactly.
pulled the trigger, but I can't pull the trigger enough to start sizing into a stock position at the moment. But I'm thinking about buying some stock too.
Nice. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I could see that. I honestly I don't mess with your call spreads and put spreads. I don't really do that, except the one time when I did the Iron Condor.
Yeah, you backed into that on accident.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't like going on margin and then having to. Number one, you on margin technically you have max risk, right? Because the stock can go to zero.
Yeah.
But you also have to pay interest, and I don't like paying interest. So I use put spreads. I sell a credit spread because it gives me the lever essentially that margin would, but it uses portfolio margin, so I have no outstanding balance.
I see.
And in theory, my max risk is the distance between the two strikes. So if I'm selling a $5 wide spread, in theory, my max risk, if everything goes to hell, is the credit I received minus $5, right? So
Mhm.
the only bad thing is I take the credit they give me and I funnel that back into a stock, right? So I'm like kind of a degen with that, but I'm compounding. But that can go really poorly because now my max risk goes from, let's say, maybe 140 or 250 to now 500 because I have to make up that difference and find the money if I'm wrong later on. But
How often does that happen?
I mean, it's something I've only started doing last year, right? Like I went really big into Pinterest spreads. I was selling like 2023s, and those have worked out very well. Like I'm pretty good. I sell 35 30s, 45 40s, 55 50s. So like that worked out well. But then I had some fastly spreads like I was getting killed on, and I had to buy them back for a loss because I was afraid and I wanted to kind of reset my margin. But I try to buy them out 2023, a couple of years out. So I have a lot of time to adjust. And if there's a stock not working, I can try and get out of it or make a plan around it or let it work too, essentially. Right.
I see.
Yeah. But you could do this 30, 60 days out on a smaller scale. I just like to have that longer time frame to make it work. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know how it's going to go in 2 years, right? It's a raging bull market, but at the drop of a feather, the Fed can say we're raising rates because, Janet Yellen's bored.
Well, it doesn't seem like they're going to be raising rates anytime soon. I think I remember reading something today. They said expect over 2% inflation for 2021,
Yeah.
which made me instantly think that it's either going to be dramatically higher or dramatically lower. Right? That's just my first instinct when I read that. Like if
Well,
he's telling us definitely 2% is definitely not going to be near or like yeah.
they were saying like last week or the week before that like it's going to take 2-3 years to get to that 2% above 2% threshold. So I don't know. And they were saying, I think Powell actually went in front of Congress. He said how like unemployment is really 10%, not 6%. You know, the whole discouraged worker where they stop looking for jobs and now
Mhm.
they get wiped off. Uh, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I can't imagine you raise rates and unwind in a safe way. It's not going to work out well for anybody. Pensions are going to get beat up. The market's going to get beat up.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's going to have to be some sort of different system. I don't think it's going to be able to be unwound and rewound in the same way. I think this was definitely a moment in history where the global financial system is not going to be the same anymore. We could
Yeah.
talk about it forever.
28 trillion in debt today. We finally crossed the big number.
Jeez.
Might as well go for 30 at this rate.
Yeah. I mean, what does it even matter at
I
this
mean,
point?
you know, Joe Biden gets his way. That $1.9 trillion stimulus bill will be a fun
Well,
one.
they said they're going to pass it this week.
Did Senate talk about it? I actually haven't followed the Senate.
I saw Chuck Grassley. I think he said he expects it to pass this week.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's going to happen. I'm curious to see another stimulus bill. And the thing with this administration, too, is if you look at like Obama's first days and Trump's first days, they did way more shit.
Yeah.
Like Obama's stimulus, the '08 thing, that was passed already by this point.
The infrastructure bill is a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they're slow. They're slow to pass this first one, so I can only imagine the second one that they're going to be trying to pass now.
Yeah. Well, stimulus has been very slow moving, right? We had that one HEROES Act that Nancy and the Democrats made in May, and we didn't see a stimulus package until I don't even know when we did it. It was like,
December, right?
yeah, like it was like a year later almost, and it didn't help anybody. And you know, Biden right now is working a lot on vaccine and COVID stuff. Johnson is going to be shooting people up this week. That's pretty awesome, right? We're
Yeah,
a
that's the
shot
shot
out
I'm
there.
going to get, I think. The one shot.
Yeah, you know, you do what you got to do, right? It's hard to get an appointment though. I've been trying
Yeah,
to
it's
book
impossible. I
appointments.
can't get one at all.
I actually I'll share a Twitter with you if you want because the guy scrapes the internet and all you do is just wait for him to tweet. You put your post alerts on
Uh,
and he'll give you all the links and like how many spots are open. And
oh,
we've
shit.
gotten appointments that way. I feel like I should just
Do they have just the Moderna, though, or you saw the Pfizer, too?
no. My family's getting Pfizer. My parents.
Okay.
So I got the first shot of the Moderna. They're gonna get the Pfizer vaccine.
How'd you feel after the first shot?
Tired and my arm was sore, but it wasn't bad. I was just really tired.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've heard people who didn't have any problems, right? Like one of our friends, he was totally fine after both shots.
Hope.
So Pete. So like I don't know how it works. Everyone's so different. You know,
That's true.
you work out a lot, right? Maybe you're gonna be really fine with it, or maybe you're just gonna be drop dead like, like we don't know. It's crazy.
And then you hear so many stories, man. I ran into this dude I haven't seen in a while. We were BSing a little bit, and he said that his friend's father-in-law got the vaccine and like a week later, dead. He was an older guy, not like unhealthy or anything. He was just an older dude, and he was like in his maybe early 70s or something like that, late 60s, and died.
Crazy.
So when you hear shit like that, you're like, ugh, you know, obviously I'm not conspiracy minded, but when it's somebody like who's like a friend telling you and it's like this anecdotal information and it's kind of close to home, well, it wasn't really close to home, but close enough. I don't know. It just gets me worried.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big X-Files fan, so I keep messing with my wife, saying that because there's like a whole conspiracy subplot that the government's trying to create these alien human hybrids to enable an alien invasion. And I keep messing with my wife that like this is just their goal. They're gonna give us this vaccine, it's gonna turn us into hybrids. And she's not having it anymore. Like she's so tired of my acts.
Well, why would all right? If aliens are coming here, like it's not going to be a big dramatic invasion. They either fumigate the place,
Right.
they just drop some gas. All right, all the people are done. It's our planet now. Or I mean, they're just going to find another planet.
I think they've been here the entire
Infinity
time. Like
planets.
they definitely have been here the entire time
Oh, yeah.
if they exist, you know.
Nah, yeah, I believe they've been watching us. They're probably just interested to see what happens. Oh, but then I have this theory, right?
Yes.
This other wacky theory. Tell me what you think of this, because I never told anybody this. I just walked my dog one day and I thought of it. But what if, right? So you know how we're on this like forever march through developing new technologies, right? And we keep marching towards sort of like a singularity, right? We kind of want to merge with machines. It seems like
It seems like
right?
it, yeah.
Yeah, we carry these around everywhere. We're strapping them to our heads. Eventually, it'll be in the brain, right?
Right, Neuralink, right?
Exactly. So maybe that's every like intelligent life form strives to create artificial life and merge with it. And maybe like the journey of becoming, being on a planet and being one celled to this multi-celled creature who develops this artificial intelligence, maybe you need to do all that to create like a flavor of AI, right? And the aliens are really interested to see like the AI that we're going to create because they would never be able to create one like that and then merge the two or three. And maybe that's what this whole universe is, just marching towards synthetic life, merging and then merging again. I don't know.
What if
This is
that's the
nonsense I
God?
made up.
What if that is actually the God particle, where like the initial emergence is what creates the ability to create, and then you spawn into a new life, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Space is
it
just
seems like we
that.
want to be machines. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
it's crazy, man. We went from a podcast about Bitcoin and stocks to a podcast that's about merging with machines.
It's true.
Did you see Elon Musk tweeted yesterday or the day before? Green eggs and SPAC. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Yeah. So some people
SpaceX is going SPAC.
that's some people think. I don't see it because SpaceX is like basically like $100 billion company at minimum, and
True.
you would need some monster pipe or like a 1% thing. I don't think it's ever going to happen because like it's the main reason why Stripe isn't going public through a SPAC. Like you just can't do it. But maybe he goes Starlink or Neuralink through a SPAC. That would be interesting.
That's true. They are smaller companies.
Yeah.
Starlink is one of the more interesting ones. Just having worldwide low latency internet,
Yeah.
high latency internet.
Because here's the thing: there's a lot of new space companies coming public through SPAC, right? There was Astra, which makes rockets for lower Earth orbit. There's Momentous, SRAC, and HOL, the two tickers, which does like space delivery travel. Like you can like travel payloads or whatever. And there's two that came out this week: Rocket Laboratories, which also makes rockets, VACQ, I believe. And one that I think is really interesting is Spire Global, NSH, that just came public this week. And they do like global like monitoring basically with their satellite for like weather and for like maritime and aviation to like monitor and see how things are progressing. And then there's Black Sky, SFTW, right, which does image global like imaging, right? So like they just analyze images. Basically, it's like Big Brother in the sky. There's a lot of these companies, and they all sound interesting. But if Starlink goes public, that's the one I want to buy. Like I'll drop
Oh
the
yeah,
money
of course.
today. So we'll see what happens.
And I mean, he has to know that. He has to know that this is a great moment to bring a company to the market,
Right.
and he has all the star power in the world. I mean, anything he tweets instantly blows up.
Yeah. It's crazy. He's just got so much power, and people are obsessed with him. I don't know why. I think he's an interesting guy, but like, who cares?
I know, I'm totally obsessed with him. He's awesome. I think he's so cool. I mean, you haven't driven a Tesla though, right?
No, I haven't. Here's my theory about Elon Musk. Okay, and he's very involved with space technology, going in Mars. My whole theory is Elon Musk is an alien who's trying to get back home. That's all his goal is.
He's ET.
Exactly. The SpaceX is just his like flight home, trying to get out of Earth before it's too late.
Dude, can you imagine how stressful living on Mars is going to be for those first couple people?
Oh man, it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you'll go down in history as like one of the few people to go and colonize Mars and be there, but you know, you're going to fucking Mars, man.
Dude, I mean, Lewis and Clark, right? Like all they did was go to Oregon, basically. They're going to a whole new planet. Like
Yeah.
it's
If
gonna
they
be
come back, you have to wait at least like there's only I think every 2 years or something like that.
you're coming
Earth
back.
and Mars are close enough to make the trip.
Yeah, like you're coming back whenever you come back, if you even do, and the world's gonna be completely different. Like your family's not gonna be there. It's gonna be nuts.
It's not gonna be that long. You could go for
I
like
don't
10
know.
years probably and be all right.
I guess that's a lot of traveling for 10 years. I feel like.
about a year of traveling. I think probably 6 months there, or 6 months back, or 3 months there, 3 months back, or something like that.
You got to enable it so you can just freeze the body. Because can you imagine sitting in a spaceship waiting? I hate doing a fucking 5-hour intercontinental flight, but I'm going to wait there. Oh,
Well, I'm sure they'll make it
still going.
comfortable. I'm sure you'll have Netflix, Hulu, all that good stuff, video games.
I don't know, man. You need a lot of Hulu. I'm telling you, you can only watch Seinfeld so many times. No, but it's crazy what's going to happen. It really is.
Yeah, no, I'm totally excited though. I will not be one of the first people to Mars, but I will. I hope down the line, like maybe a couple generations in, my line will get there.
Here's the thing. If I was single and like I had this like loner attitude, I'd do it because like, what do you have to live with, like for?
Fuck no! Are you kidding me?
Like if you're like Jack Bauer or Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, you have nothing to live for.
It's not going to be anything like that. It's not going to be exciting. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be miserable. It's going to be cold. Things are going to break all the time. You're going to have to constantly be putting on a spacesuit to go out, risk your life because some Mars rock landed wrong on the dome. And now the whole thing's about to just shatter and kill everybody.
You have to build your own toilet. You have to use the bathroom in the middle of a Marsian desert.
No, you have to go on the rocket. You have to go back on the rocket.
And God forbid you clog that toilet. You're screwed.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a space toilet. They got to figure something out.
Yeah, just shoot it right out the rear, I guess.
That's what I assumed. That's what I used to think about planes when I was little.
And you know what? Why not? It's not any worse than what we do, right?
It makes such a noise. I'm like, it's definitely just. I mean, I feel bad for the people out there. Just coming down.
Dropping down. You've seen people in like being covered.
I really thought that when I was a little kid.
God, it's crazy. It's gonna be a crazy world, man.
Oh yeah. All right. So, what are you looking at this week?
I'm looking at making sure I'm alive. No. So there's a couple of things you can do. I think SPACs were very overheated. And I kind of exited all my high risk positions. So I sold off like my KBNT, my SPG warrants, but I kept HAAC and GHVI. So Matterport and the health assurance acquisition company, which is the team that brought Livongo public. And I've really built up that position, HAAC. I doubled it like yesterday or the day before. I think actually yesterday I doubled it. So that's been an area of focus of mine. And I think SPACs are getting to the point now as they get closer to NAV that they're actually attractive again. Mm-hmm. So if you're into a SPAC and like you're trying to find a cool one, I think Joby Aviation, RTP, which is an electric vertical takeoff and landing company, that could be attractive. It's like a $4 billion market cap, I think, at $10. FCAC, FCAC, just share care. I think that could be an interesting way to operate. They're growing kind of like 25% revenue growth, but they have like real sales, like 400 million, I think, in revenue already. And there could be like a vaccine play where you basically like their platform logs your data. So you can use it as like your vaccine pass to like show like, oh, hey, I'm vaccinated. I'm clean. This past COVID inspection. I bought some Lucid Motors today. CCIV. I went in early. I got in like 28.80 because I was just impatient. I sold a couple of put spreads, very small. I sold like just literally 3 because I didn't want to take any major risk. But they were giving me 316 credit, so I sold the Jan 23, 2015 for 316 credit, and I used that money they gave me to buy a small stock position, just starter. I anticipate Lucid to probably get cut in half at some point, and I'm okay with that.
What's it at now?
It closed around 28. It hit like 27 and change earlier.
Okay. Didn't they delay their cars? Something like that?
Yeah, I mean, so like they haven't officially, like I guess, like manufactured anything or sold anything yet. But the guy who made the Model S is obviously the CEO. Johnny Ive is on the team that brought Lucid public, and Johnny Ive was the legendary designer for Apple. So I'm kind of speculating that maybe Apple might partner with them to operate the software for them. We'll see. Their battery's supposed to be really good. This was a stock that the people at Pounding the Table podcast are very big on. And having listened to them this weekend, I kind of was like, you know what? It's a cheap lottery at this point. It's not cheap at all in terms of market cap. It's $24 billion market cap at $15. So you're looking at like $50 billion market cap roughly around here. But if it could be the next Tesla, if they expand outside of just cars, it could be a nice opportunity.
Are they looking to?
It seems like they might. There's no clarity, yes or no, but there's been some allusions towards a possibility. So we'll see.
Oh,
They have,
oh, sorry.
yeah, no, they have a really good battery. Like their battery is supposed to be like just as good as Tesla's, if not better. So we'll see what happens.
So the thing with car companies, right? I was watching something about Tesla recently. I think Elon Musk was talking, and he was saying that in the last 100 years, to bring a car to production, no company has done that in like 100 years.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like Tesla, yeah, is the first. So when I'm looking at something like Lucid, all right, well, it was done. Tesla did it, but what are the odds that it's going to happen again with Lucid? It could. I know nothing about it, but that was just like my first reaction. And then there's so many EV car companies,
right?
So it makes you feel a little like maybe it's too hot right now. If you don't got it in your gut though right away, then I don't know.
Yeah, so this is what really helped me pull the trigger. And like I said, it's a very small starter position. I may add to it. I may never add to it, right? I might kind of look at it as all or nothing. But from this fact, they have $4.5 billion in cash.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to be able to open up those manufacturing plants a lot more easily than Tesla did 10 years ago when they had like 45 million in cash. So that's the main deciding factor. Like if any EV SPAC is going to work, it's going to be this one. I don't think the others will work for the reasons you said. This one could work in theory. We'll see. I'm not buying
$4 billion in cash intrigues me now. We're talking.
right. Like I'm not buying an EV company like Fisker or like PSAC or any of these other random ones. If I'm going to play the space, I want the next Tesla. I'll pay up for it, and I'll do it with a small position.
Maybe it's like Bitcoin though. Maybe the next Tesla is Tesla.
It probably is, right? And I agree. So here's the thing. Tesla, I think, has a date with the 150 or 200 day moving averages. And that would be around 600, 580, around that area. Mm-hmm. If Tesla comes down that low, I might just say, screw it, I'll buy Tesla, because
I started a little bit into Tesla and I never really did before. I mean, I've swung it before, just on like a little profit here and there. I never caught like a major move. Like I just made some pennies basically. But
same way here. Yeah.
I did buy it on this big dip that we had in the red.
It's getting attractive. It really is. And I think if it comes down even more on a big puke out, it's probably worth buying. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, that was also fresh for me driving a Tesla for the first time.
But that's the thing, right? Like you see the product and it's a great product and they have the battery storage, they have the energy storage. There's so much more to Tesla than just the car.
I agree. It was, it was a very similar experience to the Oculus because it's like within like a few minutes of driving it. And like once I got used to the car driving itself and stuff, I was like, yeah, I have to get one of these now. There's no ways about it. I have to get one. Just like I put on the Oculus and I was playing with it for a little bit. I was like, I have to get one. Same exact feeling.
Well, that's what happened to me, right? With HAAC. Mm-hmm. So this is a team that brought Livongo public. And Hemant Taneja, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but who knows? Because I'm not good at that. He and a doctor, I think Stephen Klasko, wrote this book called Unhealthcare, where they talk about all of the flaws with the healthcare system and their vision to rebuild it, right? Mm-hmm. And they want to rebuild it through data and tech, where like you remote monitor everything, you work electronically through telehealth, and then you only go to the doctor for what needs to be seen by a doctor, right? Mm-hmm. So I go to the doctor when I need to get radiation if I'm someone who's dealing with cancer or something like that. I don't go to the doctor because I have to do my yearly physical, right? Mm-hmm. I have my Apple Watch. It tells me my heart rate. It tells me my blood oxygen levels, things like that. And HAAC is, we don't know exactly what they're going to bring public, but there's been rumors because Hemant is this great venture capitalist that many people don't know about. Mm-hmm. And through the General Catalyst Company, which is like one of his companies, essentially, it's like an umbrella company. He's got investments in so many great health tech companies that he is rumored to combine, right? Mm. So what the rumor is that he might bring Color public, which is like a genomics platform, essentially. And he might pair it with Commure, which is like a data API company like Twilio, let's say, right? And then there's other ones he might take, right? There's a company called Row that's like him and hers meets Teladoc. So like you have you know direct to consumer prescriptions plus telehealth.
Interesting.
And there's like patient paying, and just like it's a really interesting idea. And the main thing that helped me say, you know what, I gotta double up on this weakness was the institutional ownership. I've seen different numbers, but you're looking at, from what I've seen, 98% institutional ownership, 91% institutional ownership. There's some big heavy players here, and this is to me like my number one SPAC play that
It's also
has
dangerous.
merged.
The more when you have those institutions.
Yeah, like the whales are going to come in and they're going to sell off that big spike, guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So I would not be chasing this at all. But I think it's around. It actually had a big close today. It came up a buck into the close and closed around like 12 and a half. If you can get that 12.50 or lower, I think it's a good SPAC to gamble on. And that's become a 6% position for me already.
Oh wow,
which is huge. Like my SPACs are normally like 1% or lower. Like Lucid is a 0.7% position. Like I'm not even interested in making it a full 1%. So like I'm really banking on HAAC. Hopefully I'm right. If they come public with Color and Commure, that would be a big home run for like the genomics. Kathy Wood would probably be a buyer. So like there's a lot of potential tailwinds there, but risks of course are always prevalent.
Yeah. How long are you thinking of holding it for?
I've been holding it since it came public, right? So like as soon as I heard that the Livongo team had a SPAC, I was like, screw it. Livongo went from 40 to 160 for me. So they treated me well, and I got in late in my eyes. Let me try it again. And the other thing I'm looking at is this might get bought out by Teladoc at some point because Haman, Tanisha, and Glenn Tolman, which was the CEO of Livongo, they're still on the Teladoc board. So you might see a merger down the line, right? This could be an acquisition candidate. So I'm going to hold this. We'll see what they buy or what they merge with. But odds are I'm thinking of this being a 5 to 10 year hold if I like what happens.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm here for the long haul because I have really good size too. So like in theory, if this is a home run, it can create some life-changing wealth. So we'll see what happens.
Interesting.
Yeah, and if it's wrong, well, it's a 6% position, so it's not going to kill me, but it will hurt. It definitely will hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you you think we're going to be in a sea of green in March? What are your thoughts on March?
So I was tweeting charts today. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the Twitter account. I did this while I was riding my bike earlier around like 6 o'clock.
Mm.
And
you got a bike?
So I'm too cheap to buy a Peloton. So I bought the Bowflex bike for half the price.
Like a stationary bike.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were like at the park.
No, I'm not gonna be tweeting on a real bike while riding it, right? I bought the Bowflex bike and I love it. And I use the Peloton app, and it's a great combination if you're trying to save money. And the NASDAQ got stuffed into the 21 EMA, right? And so many tech stocks failed at the 21 day or lost the 21 day that like I want to say we're going to be green because I think the Max Payne trade is up, not down. But I can't say that until we see a confirmation over the 21 day. Until then, in theory, it's a scary moment potentially because we're still very overbought and overvalued.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well,
what do you think?
So, I'm thinking sort of the same. I think that Max Payne is definitely straight up, but I could see like a bull trap. Definitely see a bull trap. The way I'm gonna play it is like today. I pretty much sat on my hands. I think I'm happy with where I am across the board. I have some dry powder, not like a crazy amount anymore, like I had maybe a couple weeks ago. But I'm just gonna kind of like not move too much. Like if I have a feeling that by May we'll be at a new all-time high for Bitcoin,
Yes,
Ethereum, everything. I think that we at least this bull run see a $2 to $3 trillion crypto market cap, right? So if we do dip in March, I think out of the last 10 years or something like that, March was red 8 times.
Yeah.
I remember reading, at least for crypto. So I'm going to pretty much just kind of ride this out. I'm not going to sell any big positions. I'm not going to – there's some stuff I'm going to trim that like I'm like really in the profit with. But my major positions like Bitcoin, ETH, AMP, Litecoin, I'm not touching it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't see any reason to. I actually bought a little Bitcoin down in the 43s, but I bought so little because I thought we might go lower. But I wanted to leave room. But like you deal with it. It's a good problem to have. Like I wish I always want to wish I bought more. I never want to wish I bought less.
Exactly. And you know what? You wait long enough, and you had a great buy.
The Satoshi alien will help you understand technology and cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and believe you like it. The Satoshi alien will help you understand investments and make money, so come listen to the aliens guidance.